So the first question from the chapter function is, what is a function from a non-empty set to another non-empty set? Achha. A function f from A to B is a special type of relation from A to B, having two specialities, which are, before the discussion of these two specialities, I just want to clear you that a function is nothing but a relation. That means a special type of relation. So if you consider function as a relation, that means function is also a subset of A cross B, because we know any relation R from A to B is a subset of A cross B. Function, being a special type of relation, is also a subset of A cross B. But this subset has some specialities. Do you understand these things? Yes or no? A function
Yes, sir.
being a relation can also be considered as a subset of A cross B, a special subset of A cross B, having two specialities. I'll discuss these specialities obviously, but first thing you must consider is that a function is nothing but a relation. A relation is nothing but a subset of A cross B. So definitely function is also a subset of A cross B, but there are some specialities. Number one, every element of A must be associated to some element of B. And number two, that is, number two, no element of A can be associated to more than one element of B. Every element of A must be associated. That means no element from A can be left out. You have to pick each and every element for the association of set A. That means if you are defining a function from set A to set B, each and every element of the set A must be associated to some element of the set B. And most important thing is that no element can be associated with more than one element. For example, let us consider the set capital A is equal to 1, 2, and 3. Now let us consider the relation R, which is 1, 1, 1, 2, and 2, 3. So tell me one thing, is this a relation? Yes or no? 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Is this a relation? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 But can you consider this as a function?
No.
No. Why? Why?
So कौन की element of A is associated with more than one element of B. One or 1, 2.
First thing is that first criteria is not satisfied. Every element of A must be associated to some element of B. See, A contains 1, 2, and 3. But if you look at this relation, 1 is associated to some element, 2 is also associated to some element, but this 3 is not associated to any of the elements of B. I am defining this relation on A, that means R is a subset of A cross A. A contains 3 elements, 1, 2 and 3. So 3 must be associated to some element. But if you look at this relation, only 1 and 2 are associated to some elements. That means criteria number 1 is violated. Hence, this is not a function. Again, criteria number 2 is also violated because 1 is associated to more than one element. See, 1 is associated to 1 as well as 1 is associated to 2. Hence, we can say this relation R is a relation, but R is not a function. R is not a function. Example number 2. Let us consider the set A, 1, 2, 3, and B, A comma B. So A cross B will be 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B. Fine. Now, let us consider the relation R, 1A, 2B. Is this a function? Yes or no? Is this a function? Yes or no? Tell me the answer.
Yes, sir.
Why?
না স্যার, না না
না,
ফাংশন হবে না কেন কি ফার্স্ট ইয়েটা ভায়োলেট হচ্ছে, এখানে 3 এর কোনো ইমেজ নেই।
First thing is that this is not a function because A contains 1, 2 and 3. Now if you look at this relation, you can find that 1 is related to some element of B as well as 2 is related to some element of B, but 3 is not related to any of the elements of the set B. Hence, criteria number 1 or speciality number 1 is violated. So this relation is not a function. Is that clear? Hanana, bol. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Acha. Now tell me one thing. Let A is equal to 1, 2, 3 and B is equal to 2, 3, 4. Now let us consider the relation. It is a relation obviously, but not a function. Let us consider R as 1, 2, 2, 2 and 3, 2. Is this a function? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. It is a function because 1 is associated to some element, 2 is also associated to some element, 3 is also associated to some element. And most importantly, 1 is associated to a single element. That means 1 comma something ache, ektai ache, 1 comma ar kono element nei. 2 is associated to some element, unique element. 3 is also associated to one and only one element. Hence, both of the criteria are satisfied that each and every element of the set A is associated to some element of B and no element of A is associated to more than one element of B. Hence, this can be considered as a function. And we write like this. This is the pre-image, the first element, that means the value of x coordinate, or the value of x, that means the first element. This is called the pre-image and this element is called the image. This element is called the image and we write like this. The image of 1 under the function f is 2. এই এলিমেন্টের জন্য লিখব the image of the element 2 is 2. এই এলিমেন্টের জন্য লিখব the image of the element 3 is 2. So 1 has one image, 2 has one image, 3 has one image. Each and every element of the set A is having some images, and most importantly, each and every element is having unique image. That means no element of the set A is associated to more than one element in the set B. Hence, this is a function. The first element of the ordered pair is called the pre-image, and the second element of the ordered pair is called the image. Now, let us consider two sets. That is the domain of the function. Domain of the function. Domain of the function means set of all pre-images. Set of all pre-images. That means collection of all those elements which are having images. That means collection of all the elements of the first set, that is A itself, as every element of A is having image, because every element of A is associated to unique element in B. Therefore, domain of the function f is the first set A. Is that clear? Yes or no? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
A সেটের
Yes, sir.
সব এলিমেন্টের ইমেজ পাবো, আর ডোমেইন কি? সেই সেট যার যার ইমেজ পাওয়া যায় তার তার সেট। তো একটা ফাংশনে সব এলিমেন্টের ইমেজ পেতে হয়। That means each and every element of the set A can be considered as a pre-image of some elements in B. So that means if you consider any element of the set A, then that element is a pre-image of some elements in B. Hence, the domain of the function, that means the collection of all pre-images, is the total set A. So in case if you see any function f is defined from A to some set X, then chok buje, the domain of the function will be the set A. If any function is defined from the set of natural numbers to some set, then the domain of the function will be a set of natural numbers. That means if any function is defined from a first set to a second set, then the first set will be considered, the entire first set will be considered as the domain of that function. Because each and every element of the domain is associated to some element in B, that means each and every element of the set A can be considered as pre-image of some elements in B. That is why we can say that the first element A is itself the domain of the function f. Is that clear to you all? এবার যদি তোকে আমি বলি f একটা ফাংশন ডিফাইন করলাম আমি এরকম, তোকে বললাম f is a function from R to R. That means from the set of reals to the set of reals. আচ্ছা স্যার, f is a relation করি। f is a relation from set R to the set R, defined by fx, that means the image, is equal to 1 by x. That means if you choose x from the domain, the output will be 1 by x in the second set. Second set take ki bole ami pore aschi. If you consider any x from the domain, the reciprocal will be the output. That means any element of the first set, that means the real number set of real numbers, is associated to its reciprocal. Any element of the first set, that means the set of reals, that means this set, I am talking about this set. If you choose any element from this set, then that element will be associated to its reciprocal. Now, can you consider this as a function, or is it simply a relation? Can you consider this as a function? That means, are you getting images of each and every element of the set of reals? And if you are getting images, then are the images unique? Hanana, bol.
স্যার ইমেজ তো পাচ্ছি কিন্তু ইউনিক হবে না, না ইউনিক হবে সরি।
যে কোনো নাম্বারকে নিয়ে তার রেসিপ্রোকাল তো ইউনিক। তো দ্যাট মিন্স ইউ আর সেইং দ্যাট উই আর গেটিং ইমেজেস অফ ইচ এন্ড এভরি এলিমেন্ট, রাইট? ইয়েস অর নো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
এটা বলতে চাইছিস তো? কিন্তু বাকিরা বল, এটা কি ফাংশন হবে? সব এলিমেন্টের ইমেজ পাবি?
স্যার জিরোর জন্য তো
পারফেক্ট, জিরোর কোনো ইমেজ পাবো না, বিকজ the reciprocal of 0 doesn't exist, and the set of reals, that means the first set, contains 0, and according to the definition of the function, each and every element of the first set must have an image. But 0, in spite of being an element of the first set, that is the set of reals, is not having any image. So we cannot consider this f as a function from the set of reals to the set of reals. But this can be treated as a function if you define this from the set of reals minus 0 to the set of reals. Then this is a function. Because in this case you are having images for each and every element of the first set, that is r minus 0. Now this is not a function. Is that clear? এবার বল, তোকে ধর আমি লিখলাম এমন একটা জিনিস যে fx is equal to 1 by x minus 1, বললাম এর ডোমেইন বল। ডোমেইন মানে সেই সব x এর কালেকশন বল যাদের ইমেজ পাবি। কোন কোন এলিমেন্ট? দ্যাট মিন্স I am talking about the values of x for which fx exists. Domain means the collection of all images having, the collection of all elements having images. So if I say you to find the set such that each and every member of that set will have some image, then what will be that set?
r minus 1 হবে।
Perfect. Domain is equal to the set of reals minus 1, because if you put x is equal to 1, then you will not have any fx. That means x is equal to 1 is not considered as an element of the domain. So the domain is r minus 1. কারোর কোনো ডাউট থাকলে বলবি। These are the concepts of class 11. তো আমরা জাস্ট এগুলোকে রিকল করছি। কারোর কোনো প্রবলেম থাকলে বলবি, হ্যাঁ বা না?
না স্যার।
আচ্ছা, এবার কথা হচ্ছে নেক্সট কনসেপ্টে আয়। আবার লিখি, ধর এ সেটটাকে লিখলাম 1 2 and 3, and বি সেটটাকে লিখলাম a b c d। একটা ফাংশন ডিফাইন করলাম from a to b, লিখি এভাবে। দ্যাট মিন্স ফাংশন ইজ এ সাবসেট অফ a cross b. That means যে অর্ডার পেয়ার গুলো ফর্ম করব, the first element will come from a and the second element will come from b. Now this is a function, so we must have images for each and every element of the set a. So let us write f is equal to 1 comma a, 2 comma b and 3 comma suppose ধর b. Now is this a function? Yes or no?
হ্যাঁ স্যার কেন হ্যাঁ
This is the function because 1 2 3 তিনটেরই ইমেজ পাচ্ছি আর কোনো ইমেজই এমন হচ্ছে না যে কোনো এলিমেন্ট more than one এলিমেন্টের সাথে associated. So 1 is associated to a, 2 is associated to b, 3 is also associated to b. এবার কেসটা হচ্ছে this b set is called the codomain of the function, but the collection of all images, that means a and b, this is called the range of the function. That is collection of all images. Therefore we can say range is a subset of codomain. It may or may not be equal. If it becomes equal, then the function will be onto. I'll discuss it later. But for now, we can say the range of any function is a subset of the codomain of that function. It may or may not be equal to the codomain, but the domain is equal to the first set. এবার বল ডোমেইন রেঞ্জ নিয়ে কারোর কোনো ডাউট?
না স্যার
আচ্ছা, এবার আমি একটা প্রবলেম লিখছি। Let f defined from the set of acha, suppose the let us define fx as mod of x minus 1 by x minus 1. এই ফাংশনটার ডোমেইন আর রেঞ্জ বল, ডোমেইন বল আর রেঞ্জ বল।
স্যার ডোমেন তো r minus 1
Perfect.
আর
Domain is r minus 1. Perfect. And the range? দেখ fx is equal to একটা ডেফিনেশন কে একটু রিকল কর। Mod of a is equal to a if a is greater or equal to 0 and minus a if a is less than 0. So mod of x minus 1 is equal to x minus 1 if x minus 1 is greater or equal to 0 or x is greater or equal to 1, and this is equal to minus of x minus 1 if x minus 1 is less than 0 or x is less than 1. So if you choose any value for x which is greater than or equal to 1, then fx can be written as mod of x minus 1 will be x minus 1 if x is greater than or equal to 1. See, this will be minus of x minus 1 by x minus 1 if x is less than 1. Equality তো হবে না কারণ এখানে 1 নেই, তো equality হবে না, x greater than 1 or x less than 1. So this will be 1 if x is greater than 1 and this will be minus 1 if x is less than 1. fx and fx মানে কি image of x, তাই তো? If the function is f, then fx denotes the image of x under f. So for all values of x which are greater than 1, the image is 1, constant image. 2 এর image ও 1, 3 এর image ও 1, 4 এর image ও 1, 5 এর image ও 1, 4.5 এর image 1, 4.75 এর image 1, 3.54 এর image 1, and so on. If you choose any value of x which is greater than 1, then the image will become 1. This is written. Now if you choose any value of x which is less than x, then the image is minus of 1. For any value of x which is less than of x, the image of that element will be minus 1. So we are having only two elements, 1 and minus 1, as images. So therefore the range is the collection of all images, that is 1, which is the image of all reals having values greater than 1, and this is minus of 1 যখন any value কে choose করবি which is less than 1. Is that clear? আচ্ছা, এবার একটু কোশ্চেন গুলো গো থ্রু করা যাক কি কি আছে। First is define function from a non-empty set to another non-empty set, done. Define image and pre-image under a function, done. Find the number of functions which can be defined, এটা করতে হবে। Find the number of functions. See, for exam just try to remember the formula. Proof করার জন্য we need the concept of permutation and combination. The number of functions which can be defined from A to B is number of elements in B to the power number of elements in A. This is the formula to find out the number of functions which can be defined from a non-empty set A to another non-empty set B. This is number of elements in B to the power number of elements in A. So if you are asked to find the number of functions which can be defined from a set having 3 elements to another set having 5 elements is equal to 125. 5 cube. Is that clear? Yes or no?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
Yes, sir.
Yes. Fine. আচ্ছা, নেক্সট কোয়েশ্চেনটা একটু পরে ডিসকাস করছি। ইকুয়ালিটি অফ ফাংশনস পরে লাগবে, আপাতত লাগছে না। আচ্ছা, হোয়াট ইজ এ কনস্ট্যান্ট ফাংশন? কনস্ট্যান্ট ফাংশন মানে all the images will be equal. Under a function, each and every element of the first set has image, but all the images of each and every element is equal. All the images are equal. For example, let us consider f defined from R to R defined by fx is equal to say 5 for all x belongs to R. So for each and every x of the set R is having image, each and every element, and no element is associated to more than one element. No element of the first set is having association with more than one element. Hence, this is a function. Now, the codomain is the set of reals, fine, but the range is singleton set 5 because it is the only image. Therefore, constant function, the range of a constant function contains single element. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
আইডেন্টিটি ফাংশন কি? আইডেন্টিটি ফাংশন হচ্ছে, আচ্ছা এখানে একটা নোট আছে, নোট, if any set A, if number of elements in A is equal to suppose P and number of elements in B suppose Q, then the number of constant functions from A to B is 1. Sorry, is Q. যতগুলো এলিমেন্ট বি সেটে আছে ততগুলোই পসিবিলিটি আছে। Any element can be the image. So there are q possibilities because the set B is having q elements. So there are q possibilities. Hence the number of constant functions which can be defined from a set A to another set B having p and q elements respectively, then the number of constant functions which can be defined from A to B is q. Is that clear? Now identity function. আচ্ছা আমার একটা কথা বলতো, যদি আমি এ সেটে 1 2 3 লিখতাম তাহলে এর উপরে আইডেন্টিটি রিলেশনটার কথা বলছি, রিলেশন নট ফাংশন। That was I think 1 1 2 2 and 3 3. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes,
Identity
sir.
relation 1 1 2 2 3 3. আচ্ছা এবার বলতো, is it a function on A? Is it a function on A?
হ্যাঁ
Yes, sir.
1 এর অ্যাসোসিয়েশন আছে, 2 অ্যাসোসিয়েশন আছে, 3 এর অ্যাসোসিয়েশন আছে। কোন এলিমেন্টের অ্যাসোসিয়েশন মোর দ্যান 1 এলিমেন্টের সাথে নেই। Hence this is a function. Now this function is called identity function. আর কিছু ভাবতে হবে না।
স্যার আরেকবার
আইডেন্টিটি
একটু
ফাংশনের
বলবেন
ডেফিনেশন
এটা?
কি? মিউট কর প্লিজ। If A from A to B be a function, then if fx, that means the image is equal to the element, image are element same, image are element same, image are element same, then f is called the identity function on the set A. আচ্ছা রে A to A কর, better A to A। কারো কোনো ডাউট? কারোর কোনো ডাউট থাকলে বলবি। Yes or no?
না স্যার, স্যার
Yes,
বলছি
sir.
এটা তো ওই আইডেন্টিটি রিলেশনের মতনই হয়ে গেল কাইন্ড অফ।
আইডেন্টিটি রিলেশনটাই আইডেন্টিটি ফাংশন, কারণ আইডেন্টিটি
আচ্ছা স্যার।
রিলেশন স্যাটিসফাইজ each and every criteria of being a function, that each and every element of A is having image and no element of A is associated to more than one element of B. হ্যাঁ না না? হ্যাঁ না না?
হ্যাঁ
ফাইন।
Okay.
আচ্ছা, only one identity function can be defined on any set, any non-empty set. Is that clear?
স্যার এটা আরেকবার বলবে, কি বললে লাস্টেরটা?
বললাম only one identity function can be defined. Identity function এর ডেফিনিশন কি? কোনো একটা এলিমেন্ট তার নিজের সাথে রিলেটেড হবে, তাই তো? 1 is related to 1, 2 is related to 2, 3 is related to 3 and so on.
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
And no element is related to more than one element. So this is a function as well. Now এটাতে একটাই পসিবিলিটি আছে, তুই যে কোনো রিলেশন যে কোনো এলিমেন্ট চুজ করবি and you will see that this element and that element will be related to that self, that element. So that means any element is related to itself. Hence we can say only one identity function can be defined, because তুই যদি আইডেন্টিটি ফাংশন একবার ডিফাইন করেই দিস তাহলে কোনো একটা এলিমেন্ট তার নিজের সাথে রিলেটেড হবে। তো আইডেন্টিটি ফাংশনের ডেফিনেশন স্যাটিসফাই করে যাচ্ছে, অন্য কোনো আইডেন্টিটি ফাংশন তো পসিবল না যে নিজের সাথে নিজে সমান হবে, এরকম তো হবে না। সো only one identity function can be defined on a set A, on a non-empty set A. Is that clear? Fine.
Yes, sir.
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
Perfect. Acha. What is the next question? How does the graph of an identity function look like if the function is defined from the set of reals to the set of reals? That must be included in the question. Acha. I'll tell you. What is 1 1 or injective function? 1 1 or injective function? 1 1 or injective function? Let f is a function from A to B. Now, if for any two elements x1 comma x2 in A, with x1 is not equal to x2, then if for any two elements we have fx1 is not equal to fx2, then f is injective. এটার মানে হচ্ছে দুটো আনইকুয়াল এলিমেন্টের ইমেজ সেম হবে না। যেমন ধর একটু আগে একটা एग्जांपल লিখেছিলাম, এ সেটটা ছিল 1 2 and 3 and বি সেটটা ছিল এ বি। ওকে, তো আমি একটা রিলেশন লিখেছিলাম 1, আচ্ছা ফাংশন লিখেছিলাম, চল 1a 2a 3a, আচ্ছা 3b, চল। So this is a function. Obviously this is a function because each and every element of the set A is having image and no element of the set A is associated to more than one element in B. 1 is associated to A, 2 is associated to A, 3 is associated to B. This is a function. But this is not a injective function or 1 1 function. 1 1 or injective. Why? Because x1 not equal to x2, 1 is not equal to 2. 1 is equal to x1, 2 is equal to x2, and x1 is not equal to x2. But fx1, which is equal to f of 1, which is equal to a, and fx2, which is equal to f of 2, which is equal to a. So both the images are equal. That means two unequal elements are having same image. Hence this is not 1 1, because according to the definition of 1 1 function, distinct elements must have distinct images. No two unequal elements can have a single image. Hence this function is not 1 1, because 1 and 2, these two elements are different but they are having same image. Hence this is not an 1 1 function. That means তোরা কি করবি, দুটো ডিফারেন্ট এলিমেন্ট কে খুঁজবি, যদি দেখিস তাদের ইমেজটা সেম, then that is not 1 1. For example, let us consider the function f from the set of reals to the set of reals such that the image of x is x square. That means if you pick any element from that set R, from this set R, then this element or that element will be associated to its square. fx is equal to x square ka matlab, that means if you choose any element from the set A or from the set of reals, that means from the first set, then that particular element will be associated to its square. Now see, this function is not an 1-1 function. Why? Because if we see any two different elements are having same image, then the function is not 1-1. Can you find two different elements of R having the same image under this function? Tell me. Tell me
minus
two
1 or
different
2.
elements. What is
Minus 2 or 2.
minus 2 or 2?
Minus 2
Perfect.
or 2.
Perfect. F of 2 is equal to 2 square, that is 4. And f of minus 2, that will be associated to its square, which is 4 as well. 2 and minus 2, these two are distinct elements with same image, hence not 1-1. আচ্ছা, একটু আগে যে ফাংশনটা লিখলাম fx is equal to mod of x minus 1 by x minus 1, এই ফাংশনটা কি 1-1 ছিল? কি মনে হয়?
Sorry, what দেখুন?
আরে fx equal to mod of x minus 1 by x minus 1, একটু আগে যে ফাংশনটা হচ্ছিল fx is equal to mod of x minus 1 by x minus 1, ওই ফাংশনটা কি ইনজেক্টিভ ফাংশন ছিল?
না, ইনজেক্টিভ না, কারণ কি 1 আর মাইনাস 1 আসছে তো
1 আর মাইনাস 1 আসছে,
1 নেই তো ঘুরে আসছে।
1 এর চেয়ে
So
বড়
cause,
যে কোনো এলিমেন্টের ইমেজ 1,
হ্যাঁ
তাই ছিল না? fx is equal to
হ্যাঁ
1 for all x greater than 1. So if you choose 2, if you choose 3, then both the images are 1. So that means two different or two distinct elements are having same image. So the function is not 1-1. Is that clear?
হ্যাঁ sir.
Perfect. Acha. Note. Number of 1-1 functions which can be defined. Number of 1-1 functions which can be defined from a set A to another set B. From a set A to another set B. The number of 1-1 functions from a set A to another set B with P and Q elements with M and N elements respectively. Then, কি বললাম? The number of 1-1 functions. Yes, the number of 1-1 functions এটা মনে রাখিস, এটা কম্বিনেশনের প্রুফ এখন করছি না। If the number of elements of the domain is greater than the number of elements of the codomain, then there will be no 1-1 function. The concept of 1-1 function will be valid if the number of elements in the domain is less than or equal to the number of elements in the codomain. Then only we can say something about 1-1 functions. So the number of 1-1 functions from the set A to the set B is 0 if number of elements in A is greater than the number of elements in B. And it is npm if the number of elements in B is greater or equal to number of elements in A, and the number of elements is B is n and ওটা তো m. এই ফর্মুলাটা মনে রাখতে পারবি? হ্যাঁ না বল।
হ্যাঁ স্যার।